Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the channels. This is Henry, and I have here with me. So I'm at Deep Cove Kayak Center. This is here in Deep Cove, and we're doing our annual cleanup dive at the government dock over there. And then over here behind me, we got their junior paddler club, who's going to help to keep us safe, displaying our dive flag and keeping pleasure boaters away from the divers. And I've got with me Chris, who's back from traveling overseas. Karen is sitting on the seawall on the far side. I've got Dennis Chow with me. Hey, what's going on, buddy?
Oh, hey, good, man.
You guys will remember Chris from my North Chehalis video where we camped out for a few days. It was pretty awesome. You can see here there are just boaters everywhere. I'll just show you all of the rental boats that they have. Yeah, so they're busy. So we're going to have the junior paddling club following the divers on the surface to keep us safe. Who else is here? Got a bunch of people, 5 or 6 divers. No free divers today. All right, guys, we will see you guys in the water and see what we can find.
All right, here we go. There's all the paddlers that are supporting us, and their role basically is trying to keep any kind of paddlers, the rental kayaks or boaters away from us. We do have a dive flag displayed at the very, very end of the dock, but basically the kids there are just kind of floating around on top to make it look like there's quite a bit of people there, so the boaters will slow down, hopefully. Anyway, there's Chris, my buddy Chris. You can sort of see the very edge of his, there he is. So we're starting the dive here. I'm heading towards the dock. Random bits of things. A lot of times I have no idea what I'm looking at once I pick it up. This is my first cool find. That's a scooter. It hasn't been there for very long because it's not fully encrusted with all sorts of stuff, and you'll see later on in the video it's actually working quite well. So I know I didn't want to swim around with this thing because it's actually quite bulky, so I surfaced right away. It wasn't very deep where I was, around 21 feet or so, I figured, you know what, I'll just quickly go up and hand it up to volunteers at the surface and then continue the dive. For the next few minutes, I was kind of thinking, man, I just don't see a lot of trash here. There's a pair of sunnies with just a bit of random rope. And then the next thing that I found was a handheld CB radio. You can see the microphone part there. And then I started to run into a little bit of golf balls. Oh, and this is my first phone find. People always drop their phones here because I believe, if I'm not mistaken, there are 2 ways that they drop their phone. Number one is that they're kind of sunbathing or hanging out on the dock and they're taking selfies, and they just get butterfingers and end up dropping their phone. The other thing is that because it is an active dock, as people step on and off their boat, maybe they're leaning over to tie off their boat or something, and the phone just kind of falls out of their pocket. So we do find a lot of phones here, and because it is saltwater, the damage is actually quite terminal, and I generally don't bother trying to recover the phones from this particular, from any salt water. Started running some golf balls, and just a few to start with, and then I got more and more. It was actually like quite the field of golf balls. It was very disappointing, and these golf balls have not been there for very long because they weren't encrusted with, well, basically the salt water does a lot of damage to them. Here I am trying to shove all the golf balls into a floating onion bag that's a little bit hard to handle. That giant chain there is actually what's holding the end of this public dock in place. So once I reach the chains, I know roughly where I am. I actually forgotten that I found this Apple Watch, actually, and of course, again, the salt water just does so much damage to it that it's pretty much not recoverable. Random bits of plastic. And then more golf balls, more sunglasses. And I start to run into the bigger field of golf balls here, and if I'm not mistaken, this is where I start to see more of this glass, really, really old glass bottle field. I've been working on this field for a very long time, for, well, 11 years, I guess. And I'm making a dent. Every year we'll get a little bit more out. This is roughly where I start to run into the bulk of the golf balls that I'm finding. I'm not really sure where they're hitting it from. I don't know if they're hitting the golf ball from the beach, because this is only within like a few feet of the end of the dock. And so I don't know if they're hitting it from the beach and trying to hit the end of the dock, or if they were actually hitting golf balls from the end of the dock, they're not hitting it very far. They're hitting it like maybe 10, 12, 15 feet at the most. So you can see here quite a bit of golf balls. I think I ended up around like 50-ish golf balls, close to it. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot more there. I'm just not seeing them. There's the edge of the field of glass bottles that I've been working on for the past 11 years. Oh, there's my second cell phone find of the day. Another good one. I'm not sure if I mentioned, but I don't bother trying to recover any of these cell phones because the salt water does so much damage to them. And more golf balls. And more glass bottles. I think I pretty much ran out of like really interesting things at this point here. Did find a couple of phones, the Apple Watch, the scooter. And at some point here I did deploy a second onion bag, so that because I've been getting a lot of glass bottles there. So basically, once I filled up 2 bags, shot my collection bag to the surface, and then just had to do my 3-minute safety stop. You can see there's my lift bag with 2 onion bags sitting underneath it, and swam it over to the end of the dock. And glad to have surface volunteers basically haul this up. These bags are very unwieldy for me to handle alone on my own, and I have to do that every now and then. But you can see some of the golf balls there. Yeah, it's always very nice to have volunteers. You can see some of the kids there on a beautiful day to go for a paddle and a swim. Well, that was a super fun dive. Man, it's so unfortunate. The field of golf balls, that was ridiculous. So that's new. That wasn't there last year. All the golf balls are brand new. They weren't encrusted in stuff. So that was right at the end of the dock. God, must be like 50 golf balls and a field of bottles. I've been working on that field of bottles for a very long time, and it's right off the end of the dock. So, but they're all old, like really old. Anyway, let me get out of my suit, take you down and show you what I got. There's one of the divers. I think that's Glenn. It's so hard to tell everybody with all their black suits and black hoods on. That's Glenn, and that's his garbage coming out right now. Looks like we've got an anchor. There's Glenn's bag of garbage. That's all the Deep Cove guys, all the kids helping us out. And here's the trash that we're starting to accumulate up here. Oh, that looks like that came out of the water too. Crab trap. And looks like this is our collection so far. That scooter thing is the first thing that I found. It still looks very new. There's all the golf balls. I found 2 of the phones. There's Wes. And there's the radio that I found. Here's at least 1 tire. I'm not sure how many tires we got. At least 1. Let me show you what you got there. Yeah, we're saving marine life. We're pulling out.
There's loads of little ones and a huge one in there which we don't want to come out.
Pulling things up. There we go.
Yeah.
All right. And Karen is just finishing the last of the documentation. And there's the final amount of trash. We've got all the bottles. We've got 1 tree planting shovel, which is odd. Wonder if somebody just kind of like the last second of going, screw tree planting, and just threw everything into the water. Right? That's it, I quit. And then there's a few anchors. Some of them are looking quite useful. You can still quite use them, actually. There's all the golf balls. Got some old school phones. Underwear. And there we go. 430 pounds of trash today. Does that work? Does it work? Oh, yeah. This is awesome. And there she goes. So, folks, lovely dive, awesome crew, and no free divers. Sorry, Clayton, that you missed out. You have to work. Thank you to my Patreon supporters. Thank you for Circuit Pilsner for sponsoring dive, and Line Bike Share for onshore surface support. Right? All right. See you guys in the next one.